Happy Halloween. I won't see you tomorrow.
Where are you going?
Yeah.
What do you say?
I said, what are you going as?
Myself. I guess that's scary enough, at least
How
for my
about the
babies.
kids? What are the kids doing?
Huh?
What are the kids doing?
They're gonna dress up as Starbucks coffee containers. My wife loves Starbucks, so she figured that was original, and decided to dress them up as that. They look very cute though when I saw the outfits, and so she's got some things she's decorating, but they gonna in honor of Starbucks. I may be a barista. She may bring me a little deal to help get dressed up, but excited for them.
Coach Willa, Minnesota ran the ball 50 times last week, 40 carries for their running back. Is that a unique prep for you this week, preparing for an offense like that?
No, they do what they do, man. They're really good at it. I mean, I think since Coach Fleck has been there, whatever they start the season as, right, and they just get better and better at it. They've always ran the football. It's kind of been on display a little bit more. I think because their O-line is really, really talented. And I think they try to put themselves in this Big Ten football. They try to put themselves in position to where, they can kind of control the clock, control the game. Maybe play fewer snaps holistically, but give themselves a chance at the end of the game for it to come down to the wire. And they have a tremendous. I think the fourth string running back, the walk-on kid, was rushed for 200. And I think that's just a testament to their program, a testament to those guys up front, and kind of like their identity, And so that's who they are. That's who they've always been. He's always wanted to have a really good run game, and I think Saturday was a kind of a testament to that. Kind of control the clock.
What's the challenge for you guys with Johnny out for a half?
Right. And I think anytime you're missing a player of Johnny's caliber, that good, I think the challenge is, making sure guys step up in his role. Like, it's hard to replicate Johnny's ability and Johnny's status and Johnny's ability to make plays, And I think what you try to do is you try to put multiple guys that can kind of help you with that. You may not have the same result on every given play per se, but I think holistically, obviously we will get Keith back. Holistically, I think you can help the defense and the front with a guy like Johnny being out. Whether it's a rotational plan, which we have in store, or putting guys there who we feel can help give us the best opportunity to win.
Up until he left, how good of a performance was that from Johnny?
I knew Johnny was good. I didn't know he was that good. I knew he was a really talented player. He has done stuff from last year to this year. I knew he was really, really good. But I had no idea he was. I think what he put on display, I was just trying to isolate him towards the end of the game and just allow him to win his one-on-one. And he kind of showcased that every single snap. It's very reminiscent of Devin Witherspoon last year. I knew Devin was good, but after the Michigan game, I knew ain't no way this kid coming back. I knew that kid was very, very, very special. Like first round special. And so, not to say that was that game, but I kind of got that feeling. Obviously with him in the game and as large of an impact as he had on the game from an interior defensive lineman position, I've never seen nothing like it. And I had the luxury to be around some really, really good, talented defensive line as a whole, and really talented interior defensive linemen. And so what I love about Johnny is he's always hungry. That dude was in tears on the sideline, because he was ejected, and tough blow. Obviously we got to just make sure we're continuing to preach head up and continue to replicate those situations. But I think football is a collision sport, and things happen. They happen really, really fast, and it's hard to hit rewind, and it's hard to slow it down and say he should have done this and that. But I think when you're going full speed, the only thing we can do is try to rep that as much as we can in practice. And it's a bang bang play. It sucks, but it happened, and we got to grow from it and learn from it. And the next man has to step up when given an opportunity, which you will have this week.
What did you want your defense guys to take away from last week? How did you want to use it?
It's funny you say that, right? Like football is the ultimate team sport, right? And I think football is a true test of your character. Football for me is a lot like life, because you can start off in life with the worst of the worst odds, right? Not doing really well, whether you were born into poverty, right? Your mom or dad wasn't around, or your grandma raised you And then slowly but surely, as you reach the latter part of your life, you can start to have success. And it's one opportunity, or it's one single person that you come in contact with that can literally change the trajectory of your life. And football is a lot like that. You know, I always preach to the defense, like football is a 4-quarter game, and it's at times we play well in the first half and not good in the second half, or well in the second half and not good in the first half, or well in the middle, you know, and not good at the start or finish, or well at the end and not good, and it's not good. It's not good enough at this level. You have to be consistent, and you always have to have the mentality of you're always down. You got to have that underdog mentality, and I think what last weekend showed us, right, and I think what it showed, I guess I kind of felt I knew when I had it because I've been around it a ton of times. But for younger guys and players who hadn't been in that situation, the game ain't over. The game is never over until there's 4 zeros on the clock, right? Obviously, Johnny happened to go out, but just throughout the course of the game, you know, I think human nature is when you start to get ahead, right, you start to kind of feel yourself a little bit. And I hate that feeling, man. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Right? I can remember being 7-1 last year. Right? Guys start to feel themselves. They start reading the newspaper clippings and how well they're doing, how well Illinois is doing. That, part of my language, that don't mean shit, man. It don't mean nothing. Right? You got to finish everything you start, and it's hard to win. It's hard to win in this conference. It's hard to win overall. Right? And when you're in those situations, I think oftentimes, especially young players, we're up, we're going to win. This ain't high school no more, man. This ain't high school no more, right? This is big boy football. And what comes with big boy football, you got to finish everything you start. And you got to do it at a high level, a very high level. You know, I think we had 78 snaps. I think it was 78 total snaps, if I'm not mistaken. And it's probably 5 of them 5 total plays I probably look at like, not good. You know, whether we didn't execute a technique properly or we didn't get an assignment properly, it's like 5 plays, right? And those 5 plays literally changed the game, right? Most of them happen to be towards the latter part of the game or in the half, right? We had opportunities to flip it, right? And guys were put in positions to make those plays, and unfortunately we didn't come up with it. But I guess what I'm preaching to my guys often is, man, it ain't, just like life, it ain't easy. You got to go out there and take what's yours, right? And every single snap, every single play, right? If you feel like you're dominant and you're supposed to be here, you got to perform that way. Because if not, that man across for you feels the same way. And it's, I'm telling you, it's beyond, right? It's beyond obviously frustrating, but it just, you know, I just think from my standpoint, it pisses me off because I know what's ahead of them. Like, I know when you start getting comfortable, right, what happens. And so just constantly trying to preach those little bitty messages, man, and trying to relay it to things around them, you know. And I do think, right, like, I do think ultimately in the long run, they'll be better from it, you know. But it just sucks that you got to deal with that at this point in time, and hopefully we can grow and learn from it and be better in the future.
Speaking of those plays, Aaron, the strain pulling one in the end zone, what's the teaching moment for your guys with that play?
Well, I think with every situation, right, the key thing is just going up the high point of football. You know, that's something that we preach on in practice. You know, that's something that we harp on in spring ball. You know, obviously we love wide receivers and like to transfer them to DBs. You know, because we know how important it is, right? Just in your fundamental drills, how important it is the high point of football, right? Because if you don't, like, those are the results you get. And obviously that was just one play that flashes to everybody, but it was a play earlier in that drive that we had a chance to get off the field and we didn't. You know, and so unfortunately that was the big play that kind of everybody's seen, but it's just a bunch of smaller plays or small technical things that guys can do and put themselves in a better position to do and have a chance to make a play, right? And we fall short, and that ends up prolonging the drive. Henceforth, we get the fade ball in the end zone, right? And an opportunity to pick it, and we don't, you know, and obviously it's frustrating, but just trying to teach him from those moments, you know, trying to show the younger guys who are behind him, like, this is why we preach high point in the football, right? Because if you don't, this is the result of it, right? As even if you don't see him, you got to go and get the ball at its highest point, right? And so it boils back down to fundamentals, man. To be completely honest with you and transparent, it's all fundamentals, and trying to replicate those situations as much as possible, because when you're in them, right, the coaching was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? When you're on the field, we can't go reload and play that play over again, right? You got to take full advantage of that during the week.
Aaron, when you do self-scouting during a bye week, in terms of turnovers, are you pleased with what you've seen through 8 weeks? Because I know in terms of fumbles caused, you're on pace to surpass what you did last year, and you've got guys that are high in the league in forcing fumbles individually.
Yeah, I think I'm never pleased, right? Because the goal is not
Never
just
want to phrase it that way.
Yeah, no, you're good. No, I think the ultimate goal is to not only take the ball away, but have an opportunity to score when you take the ball away. I think last year we did it with interceptions, and this year we just got a different group of guys, and we've been harping on interceptions and punching at the football and trying to strip the football, and some guys are just naturally really good at that, and I think it showed. But ultimately, no, man. I want as many takeaways and many forced fumbles as possible to try to only give ourselves a chance to score, but give our offense a chance for better field position, and ultimately give us a chance to win.
Do you find that Rosie is somebody that's naturally gifted at something
Yes,
like that?
yes. Rosie's naturally gifted at it. Kanena Odaluga is naturally gifted at it. Those two guys, they just have a knack for it. Not only do they work on it daily, but it's like in them, like when they go to make a tackle on somebody, I think Andy Boo does a tremendous job at repping that, but those are two guys who just jump out. I've been at other places where some guys, they're just naturally good at it, and Kanena and Dylan Rosiak are extremely natural at, once they make a tackle or in there for a tackle, punching and clawing at that ball, and I do think it showed up for us over the course of the last couple of games.
Watching the film, what did you see from Gabe Backus playing with his hand on the ground, and what can he give you in that role? What
I saw was he graded out pretty well. I thought he played pretty well at the point of attack. I thought he was physical. I think the sky's the limit for Gabe at any position, right? Whether he's inside or outside, and I think for Gabe's ability, to have, obviously Keith was out, but to have Johnny opposite of him, and put him in some advantageous positions to go out there and have a chance to win his one-on-one. But, like a kid like that, you just try to put him where we see fit and what can help him help his team and ultimately help himself. Obviously, we lost Keith last week, and so it was a need to have him out there, in terms of trying to have our best 5 guys out there. And I thought Gabe exceeded for what we had in store for him in terms of performance and how he played and how hard he played. And it's just different when you're inside as opposed to being outside. Now, I definitely thought that he stood up to that challenge.
Last one here. Coach, you'd obviously like to have Johnny the whole game, but you don't have that. You're going to get a first round draft pick at the halftime. How big of an advantage could that turn into?
Yeah, I think anytime you lose a talented player, right, and you're going to get him back, I think it's massive. But I think that's where other players have to step up. Other players have been waiting for their opportunity all season, and nothing is greater than the opportunity they'll have on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just, I know obviously Johnny is chomping at the bit. I know the guys who are behind him are going to be chomping at the bit for that opportunity, and I think we're going to be more than just fine, man. And obviously Johnny's a big piece. I don't want to downplay that, right? He's a really special, talented player, but I think we got enough guys around him in that position to kind of at least fill that void until he returns at halftime.